40k has no canon or retcon.
Get out of my head! Get out of my head! Get out of my head!
It's really funny how other people see that there are some books or some lore that have a concrete basis and thinking that this is canon or that is canon or this is retcon, but in the end, it doesn't matter.
Secure your face, you shit fucking original character! You're not even canon!
I don't even know what that's supposed to mean!
Because the official authors and GW have specifically said there is no canon. 40k canon is a fallacy. So think of anything that you thought of anything that you've read, of anything you could possibly think that is fanfiction, there is no canon. And anything is possible.
There is no Easter Bunny, there is no Tooth Fairy, and there is no Queen of England.
And let me translate this to you very simply. Because there is no canon, that means the authors can write whatever they want, they can spew any bullshit, and because it's official GW quote-unquote lore, then it's official, it doesn't matter.
And I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Another video that supports this thinking is also Lewiton's video, where even he states that 40k really doesn't have any retcons or canon. Then again, he kinda contradicted himself, and at the same time he backpedaled after he made that statement. For the backpedaling, it was like, oh, you know, it's official 40k lore until it isn't, because it's stamped by GW.
That at this point, it is very clearly established that retcons are not a thing in 40k, or at least not in our traditional understanding, because things are not truly retconned in 40k, but they are rewritten, expanded upon, and clarified.
Stupid!
Now, if you wanted, you could call those things canon, but it's not really necessary, because they're widely observed. You don't need an official stamp on it because it's just generally presented as being common enough that it doesn't need to be perceived any other way.
Stupid!
Who knows? The point is, you can believe that it's real or not. It's simply having been written into the lore doesn't make it canon. It also doesn't make it not canon, if you get my meaning.
Your intellect is as weak as your dollar. Failure is your destiny. You disrespect yourself and your nation. You are made of stupid.
That's another way of saying it's canon until it's retconned. You juju-ass beanhead.
I've got a peer-reviewed study right here that says you're a pussy.
And then there was a little bit of part of this video when he was trying to do mental gymnastics where he relates to real-life history to 40k, but that's really contradictory. And then also he was like basing that, oh, okay, yeah, you know, we can't really think of everything, you know, that is not canon. Like, we need some concrete basis.
The point that I hope is becoming clear is that things can't be canon or retcon in our true sense of what those terms mean, because things are just so unclear to begin with. Now, yes, it is true that some things are more established than others. I've said this repeatedly already. Some things are just more generally accepted, and that's fine, and that is a part of 40k, and that's how we know anything is happening at all, right? But my view personally is that nothing, and I mean really nothing, in 40k is carved in stone.
You stupid!
I think there's often a sense that it can be bad for 40k to not have things very established, but I actually think it's the opposite, because it enables any author to write whatever they want for 40k, and if that's generally not received well, or they just decide later they straight up just don't want it to be a thing anymore, they can just write around it or contradict it without ever having to bother actually retconning it and revising previous iterations. But beyond that, it's even more clever, because it comes down to the individual. If you read something and you think, you know what, I think that's bollocks, you don't have to believe it. You can make up some rationalization and say, that's propaganda, or, you know, maybe that guy confused it wrong and that's not how I want to imagine things. And so you can basically ignore anything that you think is not correct.
Did I ask for fries? Dumbass.
Okay, first off, what you just said there is contradicted. You either have a concrete basis, which that is called canon, or you just don't have canon and anything is possible. It's either one of them. It's either one way or the other way. You can't have this middle ground that muddies the waters. Also, it's sci-fi, not alternate history like Battlefield 1 era. Relax. After like the fem studies, I did some backtracking, a lot of backtracking at the very least. And then I started with the main post, Warhammers for Everyone, canon and retcon doesn't count, the before and after, the lore and art of 40k, which that was my most popular video that is still up to date, which was why 40k is no longer grimdark. And the only small thing that I got wrong was mainly that I called 40k Grimdark as nihilistic, which I already did a correction video on that. Then again, not many people will watch it, but fuck it, we're bowling. And all that is that to show that 40k doesn't have canon whatsoever.
There is no Easter Bunny. There is no Tooth Fairy.
So whenever you hear someone like, oh, you know, this is the new canon or they're doing a retcon, it doesn't exist.
There is no Easter.
Because in the end, GW and its authors, what they like to do, being gender fluid. They're always constantly changing no matter what. And motherfuckers here tell me that GW and 40k ain't woke. Motherfucker. Now, since you're a fucking baby, let me grab your hand just for a moment so we can read together a bedtime story. A bedtime story that is called Warhammer is for Everyone. And now, time for you to listen for me reading it for you, you lazy fuck.
Didn't fucking think you can lay around my house all day doing fuck all. Go find a fucking job, you fucking sausage roll looking twat.
Warhammer is for everyone. One of the great powers of our hobby is its ability to bring people together in a common cause, to build bonds and friendships that cross divides. We believe in and support a community united by shared rules and mutual kindness and respect. Our fantasy settings are grim and dark, but that is not the reflection of who we are or how we feel the real world should be. We will never accept nor condone any form of prejudice, hatred, or abuse in our company or in the Warhammer community. We will continue to diversify the cast of characters we portray through miniatures, art, and storytelling, so everyone can find representation and heroes they can relate to. And if you feel the same way wherever or whoever you are, we're glad you are part of the Warhammer community. If not, you will not be missed. Alright, I want you to pay attention specifically. Warhammer's for everyone, but if you disagree with us, you will not be missed. 2 key words: diversify and representation. 2 key words. And let me translate this to you. We will do whatever the fuck we want in order to diversify and represent anything that we want.
And I can do whatever the fuck I want.
And motherfuckers come here and tell me that 40k ain't woke, or Space Marine 2 is the most masculine game ever. Meanwhile, all the way back in 2019 when I started this hobby, this is their official post from Twitter. I can't make this up. There's no way that people do not see this and say, you know, this was actually for Arch Warhammer, the neo-Nazi, and this was to kick out the right-wingers or whatever. Bitch, do you think they care about Arch Warhammer or anybody else? Do you honestly think this post was specifically for him? This is an open statement to say we will do whatever the fuck we want, open and bluntly. You cannot be this stupid. Please, please, please! So, in conclusion of all of that is to say there is no canon, and from that official post, they just say we can do whatever the fuck they want, and because there is no canon by their official authors and their official statement, that evidently shows, well, partly woke, but also mainly there is no canon. There is no retcon. Think of anything that you can think in your head right now. Think of Femstodes, female space marines, Emperor being gender fluid, Space Wolves as furries, not that one, the other one, Gilliman with Imbrain. And also, ugly female commissars that have much more testosterone than I could ever have in my life. All that and probably even more possibilities that you can think of in part of your head, either degenerate or whatever, is possible. Because there is no set base ground that is canon.
Your feelings for canon are not real.
They are real to me! So, that is it for this video. Pretty short, nothing too special, yippity yada. And, you know, check out my Ko-Fi, Patreon, YouTube memberships. Nothing to say there. There are my donation spots where you can either pick on subscription or not, up to you. And if you want to check my Discord or YouTube's community page for any updates, you can check it over there. And that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Goodbye, my brothers, and take care.
Rise up in the morning sun.